Looks like the mic works. We are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Board Gaming Breakfast. Today is Friday, and I hope everyone is excited for the weekend. Alright, let me just make sure a few other things are set up, and then we'll jump right into it. Alright, that is good. That's good, that's good, that's good. Alright, so for those of you who are new, I like to go live every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern to record some videos that I'll eventually be uploading in smaller bite-sized pieces. But I like to go live for 30 minutes, talk about a board game that's been on my mind, then move into designing around that board game with adding a random game mechanic into it, and then finishing off the live stream with designing a new concept for a game in 5 minutes. So sit back, relax. If you're having some coffee, take a sip of that. I got some water, so I'm gonna grab a quick swig before we jump into it. And without further ado, let's go. Good morning. So today's game of the day is Earth. So I played this actually last night with Michaela for the first time. And one of the really cool things is, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but on the inside of the box, they pay homage to all their backers that were able to back day one of their Kickstarter, which I think is a very cool ode to those that support you first. But Earth is, I guess we'd call it a tableau building game, and so it's got a deck double the size of this that you're playing from, and the two mechanics that are my favorite, or a few of the mechanics that are my favorite, is you have your player board here, which these are the 4 actions that you can take over the course of the game. And the game is played by the active player taking one of 4 set actions, and then everyone else being able to take the smaller benefit of that action, and then running their tableau. And what I mean by running their tableau is over the course of the game, you'll be collecting and playing these fauna and terrain cards from your hand into the table in front of you to build a 4x4 grid. And once someone has successfully completed the 4x4 grid, it'll trigger the end game, and then you'll go into scoring. And so as you take the actions, each of them have a color. And so we got, when you take, say, the red action, if this was in your tableau, you'd then be able to take the action of that red action after you've completed your main action, whether you're the active player or the person just following. And so I think this is such a cool way to do engine building, which I'm not thinking of, or I can't think of any game off the top of my head that does that exact mechanic. If you can think of any, please feel free to enlighten me in the comments below. But yeah, so that action selection of everyone getting to do something on your turn is a really cool concept, as tied in with doing the color-coded actions and building up this engine allows you to feel like you're doing really powerful turns as the game goes on. So that was a fun puzzle to work out last night. The idea that once, because you're running your engine from top left to right, top to bottom, like you'd be reading a book English style, or American, I guess, yeah, English, the traditional English book, I think adds a unique element where you have to kind of pre-plan how you're going to build out your tableau. And the fun wrinkle is that then there's these terrain cards that you can also build into your tableau that have scoring conditions and certain cards that they want next to them and certain powers that they provide. So you're trying to balance this planning of getting to build an engine to take advantage of one of the colors. So we could take advantage of the red because we're starting to get more powerful actions for when the red action is taken, balanced with the scoring of the different terrain that you'll end up putting into your tableau. And so, like, if we took the permafrost, this gets us 1 victory point for each card that we have in our tableau that costs 3 soil or less to build. And so it's this puzzle of trying to build benefits to get really powerful turns within the game, while coupled with balancing, making sure that you're building up this nice point engine for the end of the game. And having all of that within like the same deck so that you're not breaking the framing of the game is a really cool concept to me. And so to recap, the action selection of everyone still getting to do something, whether it's your turn or not, and the tableau building of the game allowing you to focus heavy in different types of strategies was really fun for our first play. The last thing isn't so much a mechanic as I really liked that they included this achievement sheet. And so it incentivizes replayability because, as you can see, Michaela ended up winning our first game. So she got to put her name down on the achievement sheet for win the first game. And then you have, looks like 20 something other achievements that you can try and go for to change up your play style for the game. So one would be winning the game in under 140 victory points, which I don't, oh, we do have the sheet. Michaela kicked my butt. It was 255 to 215 was our first game, so she beat me by 40 points, which unfortunately she wasn't able to sign the win over 300 because she wasn't able to beat me by that much. But I thought that was really clever to add in that achievement sheet because it gives you these feats that you can try and go for and capture as like a memento for, being able to have bragging rights. In the household I grew up in, bragging rights meant everything. So that is our game of the day, Earth. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what your favorite mechanics are. And I hope to continue to have design conversations with you in the comments below. Thanks. So if this is your first live stream that you're catching, I've structured them so that I can get 3 videos to upload after we're done with the live stream. So I'll be clapping to help spike the audio to make it easier to cut up. So bear with me on that. But the second thing we're going to move into is, now that we've talked about Earth, we're going to go to our wheel of mechanics and spin it and have a random mechanic that we have to try and design around adding into Earth. So we'll switch over and pull up our wheel of mechanics. And so we will spin the wheel. Welcome to today's video. We are going to spin the wheel of mechanics and figure out what random mechanic we have to add into the board game Earth. Designed by Maxime Tardif. So we're going to spin the spin button, click the spin button, and hope that we have a mechanic that doesn't exist in Earth already. Programmed. All right, let's go for it. So we got programmed movement. Well, that's not how you spell movement. Goes into Earth. So, alright, we got that set up. So today's challenge is we are going to have to add in program movement picked by the Wheel of Mechanics and add it into the hotness Earth, or at least it's the hotness at the time of recording this video. And so for those who are unfamiliar with this design challenge we like to do, is we will pull up our trusty handy dandy timer, boop, set it for 5 minutes, and try and brainstorm how we might add programmed movement into Earth. So we're going to start, boop, and programmed movement. So there's really no there's no movement in Earth, but I think we're going to not highlight that. We're going to focus on the programmed aspect of the game. So on your Earth board, you have your 4 actions. And so what I'm thinking is trying to think of other games that have programming in them that I've played before. And we got Heroescape, which has your little shields that have numbers in them, which determine the order you're going to perform your actions. We have Killer Bunnies, which has an action queue of cards that are the actions you're going to take. We have Max V Minions, which has a program slot of 6 cards that you'll take and run the actions in that order. What else do we have? Well, I guess we have Sarcadians that has blind programming that gets sent out into the board. What we got CATIN. I don't have that game behind me, so I can't look at the spelling to see if it's correct or not. What other programming? Oh, we got Robo Rally, which is similar to Max, where instead of building up the actions, you are doing a blind placement. So I guess it's a combination of those two. And I'm kind of thinking that Killer Bunnies might be our kind of action that we build off. So in the game Killer Bunnies, for those of you who aren't familiar, you have a hand of cards that, for them to enter the game, you have your top run and your bottom run cards that you'll be playing them face down and entering a queue of, on your turn, you'll flip this top one, and then this will slide up, and you'll replace the bottom one at the end of your turn. I think that kind of core mechanic lends itself to Earth because you have 4 cards, and potentially you'd have the 5 card hands, and they would just be colors. Yeah, because that'd be a little challenging, I guess, because you could either do it that in order to plant cards, you have to have a program of cards that you want to play, but that wouldn't work because each card costs a soil amount. I can switch over to full camera. So the way the cards look is this is the cost to be able to play it, and you have to have that soil. I think that would become a little wonky if you used the action queue for your hand. So I'm thinking that you could color code the cards of green, red, I think blue and yellow. And it's kind of like a green yellow, but we'll use yellow. And then potentially a fifth for wild. And you would have that same action queue of pre-planning that this is the action you have to take, and then that'll slide up, and you then can replace them. So this card that you play would go back into your hand, and you could potentially, so if this was green, and then we did a wild action, you could potentially play the green back into your hand, and that would be a way that we could add programming into the game in a different element. So I think we'll stop the timer there because we only got 10 seconds. But to recap how we chose to add programming, not so much movement. I'm still on the main screen. Oh no, we're no longer screen sharing. Bollocks. I think that's what they say. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. Everyone gets to see all of my fun tidbits of previous work. Bam, accept. Let's jump back into OBS. So to recap for this challenge, we were tasked with adding programmed movement, which we pivoted to just programming, and add it into the game Earth by Maxime Tardif. And so we started by listing out all of the different programmed mechanics that we're aware of and settled on the Killer Bunnies top run, bottom run action programming row as the one that we'd want to try out first. And the way we did that is we made a card associated to each of the 4 actions that you can take on your turn and added in a wild one for flexibility. And that's how we ended up with adding programmed into Earth. And so how I would test this is I would scan in 2 of these cards into the computer just to be able to color match the 4 color types. And then I would probably size up poker-sized cards and just sleeve them with cardstock or old playing cards or Pokemon cards, something like that. I would sleeve them and put that color of each action in them. And the next time we played Earth, I'd ask whoever we're playing with to say, hey, I have this mechanic of, or I had this brain theory that, maybe Earth would be, I just want to see how Earth plays if there was a programming element to it. And so with getting table consent, I would hand out everyone the 5 action cards, explain to them this program element of it, and we would play the game like that. And I'd probably either ask to record the session or just have my little tablet with me to capture like the feeling, how it plays, all of that. And that would be how I would take programming and test out to see if it's viable in Earth. Let me know in the comments below if you have another idea for how we could add programming into Earth. I hope to continue this discussion in the comments below. If you like these type of videos, feel free to subscribe. I upload on Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule starting in May of 2023. So if you're watching this post then, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can expect to see new videos. So subscribe if you like the content. That's the clapping for the next video segment. Alright, so let's set up for the last one. Got a new white, we gotta go over to the game generator. Alright, we are ready to blast. Alright. Hi, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to try to brainstorm a game in 5 minutes. And how we do that is we will use our handy dandy game generator. And so if we go over to letsmakeagame.net, they have this awesome tool that will give us a genre, rule, setting, and theme for us to design around. And so I'm going to click the generate button and see what our prompt is. And so our genre is RPG. The rule is everything is connected. The setting is simulated reality. And the theme is conspiracy. So now that we have our game prompt, we're going to set our timer for 5 minutes and brainstorm the heck out of this game prompt. And let me just jump back there. Oh, we want to switch pencils because we don't want a mechanical pencil to be drawing on the tablet. And so we got RPG, everything is connected, simultaneous, simulated reality, and conspiracy. So RPG, so everyone has to take on the role of a character. We got our fun little characters. Make it look a little more cohesive. And we'll then take our little copy and paste tool and give each person, so we have our characters of the roles that everyone's going to take on. Everything is connected. Everything's connected. Simulated reality and a conspiracy. I don't know how this would work, but my head first went to the fact that everyone that you'd be playing with would be sitting in a chair and everyone would be back to back. So in a 2-player game, you'd have back to back there. In a 3-player game, you'd have back to back there. But everyone's sitting back to back, so you can't see what everyone else is doing. But you have to figure out if the conspiracy is real or not. And so I think this would lend itself to being like a similar to like the unlock exit style games, or like a mystery solving game or a deduction style game, where everyone is handed a little packet of information based on I'd probably everything is similar to reality. Everything being connected. So yeah, so there's some, so you have to figure out if there if the conspiracy is true or just hot air. And so I don't know exactly the stories that I would make right now, but the idea is I'd probably take a game called Awkward Guests, and to see if this idea even held weight, would generate, so on one of the cool parts of Awkward Guests, this is kind of pivoting around, and it's not going to be great it's not going to be great visuals today, so we'll just stick in full camera. But let me pull it up. I'm actually going to stop the timer because this is just one that is so our theme, or our prompt, was RPG, everything is connected, simulated reality, and conspiracy. And so this made me think of creating Awkward Guests as a cooperative deduction game. And so Awkward Guests has this really cool app that can generate almost not infinite, but millions of different cases for you to test out. And so when you did that, it'll give you I think it's over there, a little numbered prompt of which cards to pull of the 240 something cards that they have. And so it'd be the 70 card deck, and instead of having your little map that you can deduce and cross off and eliminate information, everyone's dealt out cards from that deck, and you're on, like, we'll set a 5-minute timer, and I'm actually going to grab it right here. So how I would achieve this is we would give a facelift to Awkward Guests, or not a facelift because it's a really good, great game. For those of you who are fans of Clue, I'd highly suggest checking this one out because it feels like Clue, but ratcheted up in complexity and fun. And so what'll happen at the beginning of the game is everyone's dealt out a few of these cards, and the normal game is you have information, you're trading it, and you're trying to, similar to Clue, figure out who done it. And we're still trying to figure out who done it, but each person will have different pieces of information, and you can't write anything down. And you have to sit back to back, and it's a 5-minute timer. And within the 5 minutes, you have to try maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. We'll start with 10 minutes, and make it not too much pressure to see if the concept even holds up. But in that time window, you would have to try to sort through the information that you were giving and share it with the other player to figure out who was the murderer, why did they murder, and how did they murder, which is like each character has a motive. So maybe you'd get a little reference. Maybe you'd get one of these. So you can't write on it, but you can see all the information. And that is my ad hoc way of satisfying this game of the day random idea prompt. So we'd be taking on the role of detectives, but because we're connected, we can make it a VR setting. And so you're connected, but you can't see everything. And the conspiracy is that there's been a murder, and that you have to try and figure out who did it. And so with that, that's our 5-minute design a game in 5 minutes. We we allowed Awkward Guests to do a lot of the heavy lifting today, but how I would go about testing that is, if we had time after this video, I might just go try and grab Michaela, my fiance, and say, hey, I have an idea. Deal out the 35 cards to each other, sit back to back, and set the 10-minute timer, and just, you know, be off and see if we can achieve the outcome of figuring out who done it, why, and how, and see if that works. So with that, I'm going to sign off for the day. If you if you liked what you heard today, please let me know in the comments below. If you like these type of videos, I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm live every day. So stop along if you're up at 8 a.m. Eastern, or look for the videos. And I hope to hear you in the comments below. Bye-bye. Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad.